A night that was supposed to be filled with music, excitement, and unforgettable memories suddenly turns into an emotional scene in this dramatic story involving BTS. Among thousands of armies holding up their phone lights, attention suddenly turns toward Jin. Something unexpected happens near the stage, causing the atmosphere to change within seconds. Fans who were singing along suddenly become quiet as security staff quickly move toward the stage area. In this dramatic scenario, Jin appears to need assistance before being taken away from the concert venue for medical attention. But there is one person whose reaction immediately captures everyone's attention: Jungkook. In this story, Jungkook stays close to Jin with a deeply worried expression. The smile he had earlier on stage is completely gone. He appears focused on only one thing, making sure his hung is okay. And as the situation becomes more emotional, Jungkook can no longer hide his tears. A night that changed in seconds. BTS concerts are known for their incredible energy. Whenever all 7 members stand together on stage, armies are used to seeing them laugh, dance, sing, and support one another. But in this dramatic story, everything begins to change when the staff suddenly rush toward the stage. The music appears to stop, the stage lighting becomes quieter, and thousands of fans begin looking toward the same direction. Something feels different. The excitement that filled the arena only moments earlier begins to disappear. Security personnel quickly move into position while members of the concert crew arrive at the stage. In this fictional scenario, Jin receives assistance before being carefully taken away from the performance area. Jungkook does not want to stay far away from him. He follows closely behind the staff. His expression is serious. For a performer who is normally surrounded by cameras, music, and thousands of cheering fans, this is a completely different kind of moment. Jungkook is no longer thinking about the performance. He is not thinking about how he looks on camera. His attention is completely focused on Jin. Jungkook struggles to hold back his emotions. One of the most emotional moments in this fictional story comes when Jungkook is standing near Jin, desperately trying to stay calm. He takes a deep breath. His eyes begin to fill with tears. People around them try to create enough space for the medical team to work. But Jungkook remains nearby. For years, BTS have shown how close they are to one another, often describing their bond as something that goes beyond simply being co-workers. That makes this imagined moment even more emotional. Jin has often been one of the members who brings laughter and lightness to the group. He is known for joking around with the members and showing affection in his own unique way. So, in this story, seeing Jin suddenly need assistance causes Jungkook to become overwhelmed with worry. He doesn't say much. His eyes remain focused on the medical team. Then the tears begin to fall. Not because he wants attention, not because cameras are watching, but because he is worried about someone who has been an important part of his life for so many years. Army falls silent across the venue. Armies experience the same emotional shift. Some fans lower their phones. Others simply stand still, staring toward the stage. The loud cheering disappears. The singing stops. For a moment, the entire arena seems to hold its breath. In this fictional story, fans begin calling Jin's name softly. Jin, the sound gradually grows louder throughout the arena. It is not a cry of panic. It is a message of support. Army wants Jin to know that he is not alone. When the ambulance arrives, the story becomes even more dramatic when a medical vehicle arrives outside the venue. Its emergency lights illuminate the area as medical personnel prepare to assist. Jungkook remains nearby. He watches carefully as the professionals handle the situation. Other BTS staff members are also present, making sure everything is being handled properly. In a situation like this, the most important thing is not the concert. It is safety. The performance can stop, the schedule can change, the show can continue another time, but someone's health must always come first. That is why, in this story, the professional medical team takes control of the situation and ensures Jin receives the appropriate attention. Jungkook can only wait, and that waiting makes his emotions even harder to control. Jin is taken for medical attention when Jin is eventually taken away for medical care in the fictional scenario. Jungkook watches him for several moments. There are so many things he wants to say, but no words come out. Jungkook simply stands there. He wipes his face and tries to hold himself together. The moment becomes a powerful representation of the relationship between the BTS members. Their bond isn't only visible when they are performing. They have spent years growing together. They have experienced difficult moments together. They have celebrated achievements together. And naturally, they worry about one another when something goes wrong. The bond between Jin and Jungkook have always had a unique dynamic. As one of the older members, Jin has often shown a playful but caring side toward Jungkook. Meanwhile, Jungkook, as the youngest member, has frequently shown respect and affection toward his Hyungs. Over the years, fans have seen them joke around, tease one another, and share countless memorable moments. But behind those playful moments is a relationship that has developed over many years. That is what makes this fictional scene so emotional. When someone who usually appears strong suddenly needs help, the people closest to him naturally become concerned. And in this story, Jungkook becomes one of the members who struggles the most to hide his emotions. The other BTS members are worried too. Although the headline focuses on Jungkook and Jin, this story is ultimately about all 7 BTS members. Is portrayed as trying to remain calm while communicating with staff. Suga watches the situation carefully. J-Hope tries to support the team while keeping everyone calm. Jimin appears worried and continues waiting for updates. V is also shown standing nearby, concerned about Jin. In a group that has gone through so much together, one member facing a difficult moment affects everyone. BTS are not simply 7 performers standing on the same stage. In this narrative, they are 7 people who have shared years of memories, challenges, victories, and personal growth. Tries to keep everyone calm in the story. Becomes one of the people trying to prevent the situation from becoming chaotic. He understands that thousands of people are watching. If panic spreads throughout the venue, the situation could become even more difficult. So he chooses to trust the professionals handling Jin. The message is simple. Give the medical team enough space and allow them to do their job. For the armies inside the venue, this becomes an important reminder that the best response during an emergency is to remain calm. J-Hope offers support. J-Hope is also portrayed as trying to support Jungkook. Jungkook appears extremely emotional. J-Hope stays close to him and attempts to calm him down. Sometimes words are not necessary. A simple hand on the shoulder can communicate everything. It is one of the most human moments in the story. There is no stage, no choreography, no performance, no need to smile for the cameras. There are simply members supporting one another. Jimin and V wait for news. Jimin and V are also shown waiting for the latest update about Jin. They do not know exactly what is happening. All they can do is wait for information from the professionals handling the situation. Waiting can feel endless when someone you care about is involved. A few minutes can feel like hours, but they continue trying to remain calm. Suga chooses silence. Suga is portrayed as being quiet during the tense moment. He watches carefully and stays nearby. His reaction represents another way people deal with difficult situations. Not everyone expresses worry through tears. Some people cry, some talk. Others become quiet and focus on making sure everything is under control. Each reaction can be a different expression of care. The bigger message behind the dramatic story about Jin and Jungkook is a much more important message. A person's health and safety should always come first. A concert can be stopped. A schedule can be postponed. A performance can happen another day. But someone's well-being should never be sacrificed for a show. That is why, in this story, allowing medical professionals to take over becomes the most important decision. Army is also portrayed as understanding the situation. Instead of demanding that the concert continue, fans choose to support Jin. Jungkook's tears become impossible to hide. The most emotional part of the story returns to Jungkook. After Jin is taken away for medical attention, Jungkook is shown standing with tears in his eyes. He tries to breathe slowly. He lowers his head. Eventually, the tears fall. There is no dramatic speech, no long explanation, just a person worried about someone who means a lot to him. For fans, a moment like this can feel deeply emotional. Jungkook, normally full of energy on stage, is now simply hoping that Jin will be okay. Army sends support in this fictional story. News about the situation quickly spreads among fans. Army members near the venue begin sending messages of support. At the same time, they understand the importance of privacy. Not every moment needs to be recorded. Not every detail needs to be shared. When someone needs medical attention, the best thing to do is give professionals room to work. That becomes an important part of the story. Support does not always mean getting as close as possible. Sometimes the greatest form of support is giving someone space. The tension begins to ease after some time passes. The atmosphere begins to calm down. The BTS team receives an update. The members finally have a little more information about Jin. Jungkook, who had been extremely emotional, begins trying to regain his composure. He still looks exhausted, but the expression on his face is no longer as desperate as before, there is a small sense of relief, a moment that reminds fans what family means for many fans. The relationship between BTS members feels deeper than a simple professional partnership. They have traveled through an incredibly long journey together. They have faced difficult periods and celebrated incredible achievements. They have watched one another grow. Jin and Jungkook are one example of that bond. One is an older member who often looks after the younger members. The other is the youngest member who has grown alongside his Hyungs. That is why Jungkook's tears in this fictional story become symbolic of a relationship built over many years. It isn't about fame. The story also reminds viewers that behind the global fame of BTS are human beings with real emotions. On stage, they can look confident and powerful. But when someone they care about faces a difficult moment, their human side naturally appears. Jungkook is not portrayed as a superstar in that moment. He is simply a member of a group worried about someone he loves and respects. And that simplicity is what makes the scene so powerful. ARMY's support matters. ARMY also plays an important role in this narrative. They are not simply spectators. They have been part of BTS's journey. In this story, their support is represented by thousands of phone lights, voices calling Jin's name, and messages of encouragement, but that support is also shown responsibly. Fans should not spread unverified information. They should not make assumptions, and they should respect Jin's privacy and the privacy of his family. When the music becomes a memory, the night that was supposed to be a celebration of music becomes an emotional experience. In this story, the stage that had previously been filled with music now feels completely different. Fans may remember more than just the songs performed that night. They may remember how the entire arena became quiet when Jin needed help. They may remember how the members stood together. And most of all, they may remember Jungkook trying to hold back his tears. Jin and the hope of returning the story does not end in sadness. Instead, it moves toward hope. After receiving the necessary medical attention, Jin is portrayed as being monitored by professionals. There is no reason to jump to negative conclusions. The most important thing is that he receives time to rest and recover. Jungkook and the other members wait patiently. They understand that Jin's health matters more than anything else. Jungkook finally breathes a little easier. Near the end of the story, Jungkook receives an update that causes his expression to slowly change. The tension on his face begins to fade. He lowers his head and wipes his eyes. For the first time since the incident, he looks slightly calmer. The other BTS members are still nearby. There is no dramatic celebration, only relief. And sometimes, in a moment like this, simple relief is more than enough. A message to ARMY. This dramatic story carries an important message for every fan. When it comes to someone's health, speculation should never be treated as fact. If you see a dramatic image or video on social media, always check the source and context before believing or sharing it. BTS have millions of fans around the world. Information about them can spread incredibly quickly. A single post without context can easily cause unnecessary panic. ARMY wants to give the best possible support, and the best support begins with accurate information. A night no one would forget in this fictional story. The night becomes impossible to forget, not because of the biggest stage, not because of spectacular choreography, not because of records or attendance numbers, but because one unexpected moment reveals how deeply the members care about one another. When Jin needs help, Jungkook stays close. When Jungkook begins to cry, the other members support him. When ARMY becomes worried, fans send their encouragement. Everything points to one simple truth. BTS is about more than a performance. Behind the music is a human connection that has been built over many years. From tears to hope, Jungkook's tears in this story are not a sign of weakness. They represent how deeply he cares. Someone can look incredibly strong on stage and still become emotional when a person they care about is facing a difficult moment. And perhaps that is the most touching part. No one expects Jungkook to be strong every second. No one should expect him to hide every emotion. He simply needs to be there. And in this story, that is exactly what he does. BTS stays together. Ultimately, this story returns to one of the strongest themes surrounding BTS: togetherness. Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook have experienced countless chapters together. They have different personalities. They handle difficult situations in different ways, but when one member needs support, they can stand together. In this dramatic narrative, Jin becomes the center of attention because of an unexpected situation, but Jungkook, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, and V all play an important role in supporting him. That is what makes the story feel complete. Final thoughts: a night filled with cheers and music turns into an emotional moment in this fictional story. story. Jin is portrayed as receiving assistance and being taken for medical attention. Jungkook becomes overwhelmed with worry and struggles to hold back his tears. The other BTS members remain close. Meanwhile, ARMY offers support from a distance. But once again, this is a dramatic fictional narrative inspired by the provided image, not confirmation that this event actually happened to Jin Bts. The most important message is that health and safety should always come before a performance. If an unexpected situation ever occurs at a real concert, the best thing attendees can do is remain calm, follow staff instructions, and avoid spreading unverified information. And if there is one image that remains the most powerful from this fictional story, perhaps it is not the ambulance, the hospital, or the chaos. It is Jungkook standing beside Jin, trying to stay strong while tears fill his eyes, because sometimes a person does not need to say many words to show that they truly care. Sometimes all they need to do is stay. Stay close, stay supportive, and make sure the person they care about does not have to face a difficult moment alone. That is the heart of this dramatic story. A night that begins with music turns into tension, then slowly moves toward hope. And through it all, one message remains the most important. Health always comes first. Purple Heart.